All right, hello people who are at TVC band or wherever else you are. 8-4 is what we're doing today and tomorrow. So today, today we're doing histograms.
Can I have a paper?
No. Tomorrow we're doing box and whisker plots. Okay, so we're only doing half of this today. It's kind of short, but kind of like tedious. It's kind of a tedious process at the same time. None of you guys got one? Okay. All right, so histograms today. We're talking about how data is distributed, okay? So,
Oh my god,
we know that when we gather data, it's a lot of times really beneficial for us to look at a graph of it, okay? So like a lot of times you'll do like a pie chart. But a pie chart's not always the best chart to do. So one of the first kind of things that we're going to be looking at is a histogram. So let's talk about a histogram. I'm going to explain to you at the top here what the difference between a bar graph and a histogram is. You do not have to write this down if you don't want to. Okay? So a bar graph versus a histogram. Here are some differences, some similarities and some differences. A histogram is a bar chart, but there are some kind of differences. Okay? Usually a bar graph has what's called categorical data, like categories here at the bottom, okay? So they might be like eye color, like brown and blue and green and hazel, and then you would have like this many brown and this many blue and this many green and this many hazel, right? Like that's what our bar chart would be. And these are all categories. Categories. It's categorical data. Categorical data, bar charts. That's what a bar chart usually does for us. And then this over here is called the frequency, which just tells me how many people are in that category. I didn't spell that right. Frequency. There we go. I was missing an N. Frequency, which is the number of people that fall into that category. A histogram is a little bit different in the fact that these are going to be all quantities, which are numbers. Okay, quantities or numbers. And so like, let's say we were talking about like, I don't know, ACT score, right? So if we have ACT score, let's say that here is where 0 lives. Let's say here is where 10 lives. Here is where 20 lives. Here is where 30 lives. And this is where 40 lives. You can't go above a 36 on the ACT, but like, we'll just say that that's the categories, right? And then in a histogram, we would just put still on this side the frequency, okay? And so maybe there was like one person that scored a 9 on the ACT, and I'm pretty sure you get like 10 points for just putting your name. But anyway, we'll just say that that's a thing. Okay, 10 to 20, let's say we had like 4 people score between a 10 and a 20 on the ACT. Like some people got 19s, which is a decent score. It's all right. 20 to 30, you're going to have like probably the majority of the people that are going to score 20 to 30 maybe, right? Like 25-ish, 22-ish. You might have some like 29s or something like that. And then let's say that you've got a couple of them that are scoring between 30 and 40, all right? Similarities, differences. Similarities between bar graph and histogram. They both involve bars. One of them is categories, the other one is quantities. What else do you notice about those bars? They are
diagrams.
Touching. They're touching each other because here, these categories are like touching each other, right? Like from where one interval stops, the other interval starts, right? And I like go. So that's one of the huge differences between just a regular histogram and a bar graph, right? Okay, bar graph is categories where like the intervals like browns don't touch blues, like necessarily, right? Like they're not connected in a sense that they're numerical data, okay? So that's one of the main differences. So we're doing a histogram and we're having to like organize the numbers and find out how many are in each category. Make sense? Or like in each grouping, I guess. Okay. These are called classes, by the way. We're going to talk about classes below, but like the classes are like the range of values. Okay. Here we go. After we do our histogram, this drives me crazy every single time. I get this one. This one in the middle is called a symmetric distribution. So like, let's say we were talking about grades in this class, and the majority of the grades for a test were between an 85 and a 90, right? Like that has the tallest tower. And then you have fewer people that are scoring a 90 to a 95, and then you have some that are scoring between a 95 and 100, and then maybe there's bonus points on the test, so you've got some people that are like very, very few that are scoring above 100%, okay? Same thing on the other side. between an 80 and an 85 and a 75 and an 80 and a 70 and a 75. You know, you have that thing going on, right? The majority of people are like the tallest tower is right in the middle of the range, right? And then you've got some people that are really like on the high achieving and some people that are really on the low achieving, right? You decide who is who in here, right?
I'm 105.
Gordon's over here. Is this where we've decided?
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
the right
You're on the right
yeah,
side.
yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I'm
Yeah.
sure
Not
you
even-
are, Gordon.
Yeah.
Aiden says you're not even on the chart. You're like
I'm
over
on-
here in the 50. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so gosh,
Semester 10?
go back.
No,
Yeah.
we just no.
So anyway, that's symmetric distribution where you've got the tallest towers in the middle and then they're kind of tapering off, right? Okay. Now, I will never understand. Well, I understand how they do this, but I will never agree with this. Okay. They say that when your tallest tower or your highest frequency is on the right side, this is negatively skewed. Why can't it be positive? Wouldn't it make sense if it was positively skewed? Okay.
No.
Now, in my stats book, we literally talk about this in my stats class, and instead of calling it negatively skewed, they call it left skewed, which still doesn't make sense. They're going off of like where the tail lives. The tail is on the left side of the graph. I will never understand this. And this is legit how they explain it in my stats book. I'm like, you guys are idiots. This is college statistics and this is how you're describing it. Think of your left foot. Okay, your left foot. Here's your big toe, and then your second toe, and your third toe, and your fourth toe, and your fifth toe, and then we've got some few extra toes on there. But anyway, your left toe looks like that, or your left foot looks like that, and that's left skewed. I don't understand it. It should be right skewed because the towers are on the right side. I don't understand it, but it's backwards. So the same way over here, this is positively skewed or right skewed, okay? Because the tail is on the right side, or this is your right foot. There's your toe, 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 toe. That's your foots, okay?
Why are you looking at feet? Whoa.
We're looking at foots.
Do you want this?
No, we have one.
You don't want this? But can I wear it? Like,
Where did it come from? Where did it come from? Do you have a one for a king and one for a princess and one for a prince? Then I don't want it.
You don't have one for a queen?
No.
You said king,
Do you
princess,
have one that
prince.
matches it in the other three? Then I don't want it.
Jake, it's okay. You'll always be found king.
Sure.
You
'Kay,
mean-
there you go. Right skewed is the opposite. Left skewed is the opposite. They're like the opposite of what they should be. And it's because of the feet thing. Well, not really. It's because of where the tail lives. But anyway, so that's how that works, right? Opposite of what you think it is. Okay, let's go down here and let's actually make a histogram. The tedious part of this, and the reason why you only have one assignment is, or one problem for homework, is that
Takes 30
It
minutes.
sucks.
it takes 30 minutes to put them all in order. Now I'm going to show you a shortcut. I'll show you a shortcut, and you don't have to necessarily put them in order for the one that I do on your homework assignment, or the one that you do. But for this one, we're going to put them in order, just because. And these are prices of laptops. It doesn't say what brand they are, so I'm sure we've got some MacBooks in there that are expensive, and we've got some PCs in there that are like $300. So we're going to go from low to high, and let's go, what is the smallest number? Anybody see?
420.
I see some 300s.
I see 420.
Okay, I'm gonna circle all the 300s, and then we'll put the 300s in order. I think the
374, the next row. First one.
374. I see a 390.
39.
I see a 389. I see
374.
a 374. I'm looking for it. There we go. Is that all the 300s? Those?
Yes.
300s. All right. So starting with the 300s, we're gonna put those in order. So 374 is the lowest. Then we go, and I'm crossing these off as I go. Then we go 386 is the next one. This is the easiest way I've found to do it. So circle like all the 300s and then put those in order. Then we're going to go through and circle all the 400s and put those in order, right? Okay. Did you get them all?
No.
There's 4 of them. 4 numbers in the 300s.
They're hard to see.
Okay. I know it's hard to see. 410, 440, 420, 472, 470, 463,
On the right.
425,
490.
490. Anybody else have 400s?
No.
Okay, let's put those in order. So there are, I don't know, like 8 of those numbers. 410 is the first one. Then 420, I think, is the next one.
25.
Then 425.
Wait, what is it?
Then 440 maybe is the.
Yeah.
Okay, 440, I think. Okay. Then is that 463? 463. We've got a 470. We got a 472. And we got a 490. Did I get all of them? I think that's all of those. Okay, I'm going to start on my next color. And that's the 500. So I'm going to go through and circle the 500. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 500s, I think. That's the easiest way to go through and do it. Okay. So 502 starts it. Then we got 508. My phone number. Next is 512, I think. You check me and make sure I'm doing this right. 523. Then 538.
Out loud.
What
The government's gonna
is that 552 or 562?
552.
I think
one of those.
552,
552.
I think.
Everyone starts. It does.
552 and 572 is the last one. Okay?
You are special.
There they are. All right, I'm going to switch colors. 600s. We got a 605. We got a 671, a 618, a 613, a 659, 621. That is 6 of them.
That's who you are.
6 in the 600s.
You're not.
So, 605 first, I think.
Mhm.
Then 613. Then 618. 621, I think. 659 and 671. I think that'll do it for that one. Okay. All right, we got some 7s. 4 numbers in the 7s. I'm really gonna get sad if this doesn't end up being the right amount and I crossed one off that I shouldn't have. All right, 706, 723, 734, I think, and 752. I think, if you put those in order. The closer you get to the end, the easier it is. And we're gonna end up right because we have 3 left. 811, 847. And then my last one, I ran out of colors. I gotta go back to pink, I guess. Is 915. There we go. We got them all.
That was a lot.
Woo!
The longest part.
That is a long part. Yes, that's a long part. Okay. All right. So before we make our histogram and our bars, we've got to do. They call this a frequency table. A frequency table. Okay. And we have to identify our classes. So we have to decide what our classes are going to go from. Okay. Whatever you do, you have to make your classes the same with the parts. So if we start like 374, that's our smallest number. So like we could start it and go from 350 to 400, from 400 to 450, from 450 to 500, from 500 to 550. Like we could do that. Or we could just do all of the 300s, all of the 400s, all of the 500s, all of the 600s.
I like that one better.
You like that one better?
I like that one.
Okay. If we did the 50s, that's gonna be a lot by the time we get up to 950, right? We'd have to go
Let's just do
350 to 4, 4 to 450, 450 to 5, 5 to 550, 550 to 6, 6 to 650, 650 to 7, 7 to 750, 750 to 8, 8 to 850, 850 to 9, 9 to 950. That's 12, I think, if I counted right. That's 12 classes. That's a lot. Okay? But if your numbers are spread far apart enough, maybe 12 classes would be okay. I like the idea of maybe doing the 399 or the 300s, the 400s, the 500s. Let's do that one. So we're going to do our classes and we're going to go 300 and we're going to go 399. And then wherever that one stops is where the next one starts. So 400 to 499. You see how we're setting these classes up? 500 to 599. 600 to 699. This is the pain in the butt part. 800 to 899. How many classes are we gonna have?
a couple. A lot.
A couple. Not as many as we would have if we would have done the 50s, right? We're going by hundreds instead of going by 50. So we've got 2, 4, 7. 7 classes. This is classes. And then this is going to be frequency, which means how many in each. Now, we could have set up our classes. You got to look at where your smallest number is and your biggest number is. So as long as we know which one's the smallest and which one's the biggest, we could have set up our classes and not necessarily had to put them in order, but tallied them instead, right? And not necessarily put them in order. So we could have totally done that and then skipped kind of this part. Whichever way you think is easier. I like putting them in order because then I can see how many there are, right? How many are in the 300s?
4.
4 of them. Okay, how many in the 400s? 8?
No. Ooh.
I think
Yeah.
you're right. 8.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
did.
8. How many in the
7.
5? 7?
I don't know.
In the 6s, they're color coded, so the 6 is the purple number. Purple one.
6.
6 numbers,
Yeah.
okay? In the 700s, there's 4, and then there's 2 in the 8s and 1 in the 9s, right? Okay, now we're gonna create our histogram. I'm gonna do it down here. Part B is the part that we're gonna skip because we're not doing the 5-number summary that they talk about has to do with box and whisker plots. That's what we're doing tomorrow, but we'll do it on a different problem. So you can skip B altogether. They just want us to create the histogram and describe the shape. Okay, so I'm gonna put my histogram down here. You can use as much room as you want because we won't do part B. All right, we have to set this guy up. What is our label across the bottom?
The 300 class.
Yeah, that's our 300s, but what are the classes? Like, what are they referring to? What are these numbers referring to?
Laptop or prices.
Laptop prices. So these are prices. Prices in dollars. I'm gonna say prices of laptops. Okay, now I'm gonna do one of these. Do you know what that is? That little
That's a little like just skip a couple.
yeah, you skip a couple. So I'm doing that so that they know I'm not starting at 0. I'm gonna start my numbers at 300. Okay? And instead of writing 300 to 399 and 400 to 499, I'm just going to go the beginning of each class and write those in there. Which just means like where one stops, the other one picks up, right? So I'm going to go 300, 400, 500. So you can see that like between 3 and 4 would be like the 3 to 399 range. Does that make sense? Rather than putting 3 to 399, 4 to 499, right? I'm just putting the beginning of each class. What do we have to go to? So yeah, technically 1,000, right? Because 999 is the end of my category. So I'm gonna go to 1,000, okay? And then frequency goes on this side. Okay, what do we have to go up to on frequency?
10.
You could go to 10. We
Well,
only
8.
have 8, right? Okay, here's how I do this. To make sure I have enough room, 8 is a number that's really nice because it's divisible by 2, but it's also divisible by 4. So I put 8 up here at the top. Then I split it in half,
4.
and that's going to be
4.
4. Then I split that in half, and that's going to be 2. And I split the top one in half, that's going to be
What?
6. Do you see how I'm doing this? Right? You just do halvesies the whole way through, and that makes sure that everything is evenly spaced and you don't run out of room. Does that make sense? Yeah,
Seems like
that's a brilliant idea. And these are all going to be 1, 3, 5, 7. All those middle little pieces. And then we just create our tower. So this is our histogram. All right, and you can make this as pretty as you want to. I'm not very good at making these pretty. The first tower is 4 units tall.
Oh, dang.
There we go, 4 units tall. I'm really having to concentrate here. Otherwise, my stuff is not pretty. The next one is 8 units tall. I just have to remember that no matter how ugly mine is, it's always going to look better than Gordon's. So
Look,
That's
it's beauty.
that's too accurate.
Beauty.
That's
Beauty.
Let
Yeah.
okay,
Hey,
whatever.
yo, that's a, yeah, come on.
7
Gordon, it's
units
always
tall. We go
always
down to
red.
6 units tall. Use your best.
No taste you.
Best. Your towers are leaning.
No, it doesn't even matter. Is that like realistic?
What did you just
Yeah,
say?
Seven,
That's like
six,
the
Did you
venom
just
suit.
say terrorist attack?
4.
Wow. Wow.
This tower
This
kinda-
is a
That's what it looks
positively
like.
skewed distribution.
That's very good. We're going to talk about positively skewed distribution. You think it's positively skewed?
No.
I think
It
it's
looks like-
Because the tall tower's on the left side, and left side means positive.
Oh,
So this is
never
a
mind, yeah.
positively
Left.
positive,
Sheesh, I mean right.
or I'm going to say,
Left.
is it left?
Right.
Left or right? Is
No,
it
it's
left or
right.
right?
Right.
It is
Right.
right.
Right. It looks like a right,
Skew.
but not left.
Okay? Why did I put Why did I put post? I'll just put POS. Positive. Positive or right skew is what he has. Okay?
Got it?
Yes.
Is that all?
Amazing.
It was close.
Gordon, your towers look like
That was
September
good.
Yep.
11th.
That's all today.
2001.
Yep. Except the homework assignments.
Nice.
Tomorrow we're gonna do box and whisker plots. I like those. Those are kind of fun. Box and whisker plots. Okay, but your assignment for tomorrow is to do number 1 on skills practice, and that is all. Okay, now let's talk about, so that we keep everything consistent, let's talk about how you're gonna name your classes, because that might be the hardest part, right? So you won't necessarily have to put these in order if you don't want to. You can tally, okay? But let's talk about how we're gonna do our classes. So classes, and let's do frequency, and let's like decide as a class how we're gonna do our classes, okay? First and foremost, we need to know what? What do we need to know before we distinguish our classes?
How many
How many what?
classes?
How many classes? Sure. Okay.
Do we put all these in?
Usually they say to like 5 to 8 classes or 5 to 7 classes. I think is what it
Let's
is.
do like.
Okay, but
Yeah.
what else do we need to know for classes? What? What?
The amount.
What was that?
No, not necessarily. What do we need to know first?
The name. Numbers.
The what numbers?
What happened?
What? How many are you
Student
each
numbers?
group?
What?
Student numbers?
Are we gonna start at 0?
How's it go?
No.
0 to what? Okay, where are we gonna start?
Can we just do like start at
58. 8 or.
The smallest number. What's the smallest number? Let's figure out where we need to start from, like where our classes need to start.
It's a play.
What's the smallest number?
58.
58. We're talking about SAT score. So 58 is the smallest. What's the biggest?
1,800.
I think 118 is what I see right here. Anybody see anything bigger than
No.
118?
118.
Okay, so 58 to 118. We know that that's the range that we've got to go over, right? So now we get to decide. Do you want to go like 55 to 60, 60 to 65, 65 to 70, or is that going to be too many classes? Or do you want to just do all 50s, so and all 60s, and all 70s, and all 80s? Yeah?
That's good.
Okay, let's try that. So our first class would start from
50 to 60, 59.
50 to 59. Let's try it. Let's go 60 to 69, 70 to 79. Now, this makes it really nice because, like, all I have to do is look for numbers in the 50s, look for numbers in the 60s, look for numbers in the 70s, etc., right? Now, you can probably do that maybe without actually, like, listing them in order if you want to do, like, a tally system. Hold on, I can't count if I'm talking at the same time. There you go. How many classes? 7? Yeah, we had 7 the last time, so that works out kind of nice, okay? So if you want to not have to put them in order, but like start a tally system, like the first number is 105, he would go here, and I'm gonna tally there. The second number is 86, you can tally him there, right? So you wouldn't necessarily have to put them in order. If you want to put them in order, you sure can, but go through and tally them. Now, make sure that at the very end, whatever your frequency is, adds up to be, I don't know, how many numbers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
This is
7,
gonna be the
8,
left
9,
one.
18 on the top.
It's gonna be the negative.
18 numbers on the bottom, how many?
2.
What? 2, 4,
Is it
6,
ordinal?
8, 10,
Oh, no, there's
12, 14, 16. There's 18 numbers on the bottom also. So your tally should add up to be 36. 36? Yeah? So make sure that when you're done tallying, that it should be 36. The pain in the butt part of tallying is if you screw up, then you have to start all the way back over again, right? With your tallies, that stinks, okay? So go ahead and do your tallies if you want to do the tally thing, and then create your histogram, and make sure you put the shape of the distribution. So I have no idea how it's distributed. Just put whether it's positive, negative, left, right, symmetric, whatever, okay? It doesn't have to be completely symmetric in order to be symmetric, as long as it's close, but